Jai, you're on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiraet Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Ruttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Shinvadam Swagatha Krishna's Punya Shravana Kirtana Vidyantastahi Abhadrani Vidinoti Suritstam Om Agyanastimirantasya Gananjana Shalakaya Akshurunmritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Mandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vishamischa He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Shubhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Siva Shadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesh Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Hare Krishna. So, welcome everyone for this special Bhagavatam session on Bhaktivedanta as part of the Bhaktivedanta Module 2. And we have an interesting topic in hand, which is Bhagavatam 10th canto, 21st chapter, and verse number, and the whole chapter entitled Venu Gita, the flute song of Krishna. So we would try to cover the whole chapter, and in between we would see. And this chapter is very interesting because I am just giving a short prelude. So although the topic, and as you can understand, is full of rasa, however, Srila Prabhupada and his blessed disciples have derived some very crucial point that reflects the mood and mission of Prabhupada, not just of only Prabhupada, but the entire Gaudiya Vaisnava lineage, the tradition. You will find that within the purports and what we will be going through. Similarly, we would find other aspects for personal and preaching applications, and some finer, subtler points for our understandings as well. So I have basically used Srimad Bhagavatam, this chapter, and Krishna book, chapter number 21, for this presentation, and sometimes the commentaries of the previous acaryas interspersed as and when required. So now let's get on with this. And we will see this chapter is starting is a take from the previous chapter, which is basically describing the autumn season of Vrindavan. And from there, it is now taken. Now the scene is set. So if you see verse number 1 and 2, so you will find that the maybe somebody, maybe Atul Krishna Prabhu would like to read this for me.
Yes. With the arrival of the beautiful autumn season, the waters in the lakes and rivers became as clear as crystal and filled with fragrant lotus flowers, and breezes blew very pleasantly. At that time, Krishna entered the forest of Vrindavan with the cows and cowherd boys.
So this is how it's starting. So as you see, this is taken from Krishna book, The picture is from the light of Bhagavad, so that to give the feeling of the autumn season. So this flute song, as we know, the Gopi Gita, so it's like the clarion call of the flute to the gopis, as we can say. It's just like when we do go out for the Sankirtana and we play the Mrdanga. So that's like a call that everybody come and join in for the Sankirtana. So in the same way, you see the gopis, they're also discussing in the whole chapter, we see they are discussing Krishna in his absence. They are discussing, and that's that kind of discussion. They feel that they are as if they can see Krishna in person, what he's doing, what's going on in the forest. So that's the basic idea, and I would say that's the basic one of the, if you can see, one of the mission parameters of ISKCON, that what we aim to achieve by doing these kind of discussions, following in the wake of the gopis. So the same thing, to propagate a consciousness of Krishna as he is revealed in Bhagavad-gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is very well what we are doing right now, and this is what we do as members of ISKCON, following the in the clue of the gopis, and discuss and propagate the teachings of Gita and Bhagavatam. Basically, that's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked us to do. So what happens when this we do that? So as Bhagavatam 10th canto 1st chapter verse number 4 explains, Nivritta tarshar upagiyamana bhavauta aushade shotra manobhirama ka uttam shloka gunanumada uman virajyeta vinam ashugnath. So you understand that this is what we're supposed to do. This is what the human life is meant to be done, discussing the glories of Krishna. And only a person who is like, either he is the killer of the soul of himself, or he is like, as we understand, a meat eater. So only those people are the only exceptions who cannot appreciate these dialogues, specifically which is going on now between the gopis. No wonder that this verse has been kept in the preface by Srila Prabhupada in his introduction to Krishna book. Now, let's move on to the next verses, as we see, because this is the third verse where Krishna has started playing the flute. The call has been given. So we move on to the next verses from verse number 4 and 5. There are a few things that needs to be, and 6, up till 6, 4, 5, and 6. So I need a volunteer who read this for me, please.
It is to be noted that initially they were speechless by the sound of Krishna's flute, and remembering him, but then regained their composure and were thus able to ecstatically describe the sound of Krishna's flute.
Yes, so that's the basic, that's the initial stage of the gopis. When they think about Krishna, they are like stupefied, but then gradually they come to their external consciousness, and then they you will see in coming verses, they are embracing each other, and they are basically out of the separation. They're discussing about Krishna. So that is which, like, as we can see, this is from the summary I have posted here, to see Lord Krishna playing his flute while taking the cows to pasture is the highest perfection for the eyes. That's how, like, the BBD translators have posted this thing. So that's the highest perfection of the eyes. So these are some of the things which are for the understanding for devotees who are advancing in Krishna consciousness. Maybe these topics might not be so much appreciated by the beginners, for the intermediates and devotees who are willing to advance. So these are the subtler points. So anyway, so what's actually going on in between? What's actually going on? Why they were like kind of stupefied, why they were speechless, why they couldn't initially react, is because that the verse number 5, which describes the beauty of Krishna as he is entering Vrindavan. Barha piram natavara karnikaram vibra dasha kanaka kapisham vaijantyam chamalam randhan venu radhara suparay sudharupayan gopa vrinday vrindaranyam swapadarmanam pravishat gita kirti. So that basic verse, basically how Krishna, like having peacock feather on his head, and like he has got Karnikar flowers, that's the decoration, is saying how he has got a Vaijanti Mala. So how like he is like entering, and with his cowboy friends surrounded by, that's only increasing the beauty of Krishna. His associates are in a way like adding to the beauty of Krishna, and in that way Vrindaranyam, they are entering into Vrindavan forest. So and like that's like that they are this is how he is glorified. So that's the like just fathom to the depths of that maybe that experience. Directly like see Krishna, or like in this case they are not directly seeing Krishna, but because they are thinking, remembering about Krishna, and then they are discussing about Krishna later on, that's how they are seeing Krishna, they're experiencing Krishna. So let's try to understand what's like happening now. So for better understanding, we might have we would have a very small exercise. I'll add everybody to a single group because we are just 5 or 6 of us. So we will have a small exercise in which we would simply, I have provided all of the devotees with a short document, 1-page document. So I would just request all the devotees, I'll break out into your rooms, single room, of course. So with that document, we will just try to figure out what's happening with the different devotees as they hear the sound from the flute of Krishna. What happens to the different devotees as they hear flute of Krishna? It's nothing but just the translations from the verses. So I'll give you 10 minutes for this. So I believe 10 minutes is enough for discussing just 1 page, all of you, and then one of you can present the conclusions, what you have gained from the discussion. Is the discussion clear? Question clear?
Prabhu, we have to read the translations and
amongst yourself, discuss and just figure out what is happening to the different devotees mentioned there as they hear the flute sound of Krishna.
Prabhu, is it possible for you to share that?
Yeah, the document is already there in the WhatsApp group. The document is already there in the WhatsApp group. I purposefully didn't share it in this Zoom chat because you tend to lose those files. So that's why the WhatsApp group, it's there. Kindly pull it up from the WhatsApp group as I send all of you into one room. All right. Showtime.
Who is our leader?
I
think everybody present whatever they read is easier, not to waste time.
Okay, Prabhu.
So first 3 verses.
Ravi Gopal Prabhu can start here, the first 3.
About the flute, actually, it is mentioned that that they are able to see how Krishna and Balram's mouths are wide open, and also looking at the Vrajavasis, and the Cupid, they are affected by Cupid, and also they were embracing each other with that flute sound, something. This is the thing. I'm just imagining how beautiful Krishna would be, and also how they are fortunate to looking at Krishna and Balram just in that posture. So it's really very enchanting for their minds and all hearts.
Okay, sir.
Hare Krishna.
Next 3 verses.
Me?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. So, Prabhu, I found that Lord Krishna was playing his flute, and flute life is successful because Lord Krishna touching his lips on bamboo flute, and his generation also become liberated. They are most fortunate. And number 2, Mother Earth. She is also very fortunate. Every moment, wherever Lord Krishna going, she is touching Lord Krishna's lotus feet. And in the forest, peacocks and deer, they are also face to face seeing Krishna, and they are worshipping by looking Lord Krishna. But Gopis unable to see Krishna because they are in their house. They no can go to outside of house. They cannot go to the forest. These 3 things I found, Prabhu.
Other volunteers? Rasamai Mataji, your microphone is off actually.
Yeah, sorry. So in verse 11, it's talking about the buck and the doe, who are worshipping the Lord with looks of love and devotion, affection. And then 12 is talking about the demigoddesses. So even though they are with their husbands, they are so enchanted by Krishna's beauty that the flowers in their hair fall down and their belts loosen up. And then the 13th verse is talking about the cows and the calves. The cows are through the years, they are drinking the nectar from the Krishna's flute, and the calves are stunned. Even though their mouth is full of milk, they are stunned and they're just drinking Krishna's beauty with their eyes, and then they are embracing him within their hearts.
All right. Okay, I mean, others want to contribute, or like what? Like, should I take it from here?
Atul Krishna Prabhu.
As you wish, Prabhu. Should we speak, or you can continue? What is
Yeah,
your
whatever. If you feel that there's something to contribute, otherwise I can continue.
I mean, whatever was mentioned in that document. So I think about the birds and about rivers and clouds also was mentioned.
Yes.
Birds were quite silent, sitting, closed their eyes like sages. They were hearing. And then about the rivers, they were like, rivers became, I should say, like beloveds, opening their arms and taking Krishna in their heart and offering the flowers. And then we had clouds. So cloud was like a father protecting with an umbrella. So this was 3 things which I read.
That's tremendous.
Yeah, in the last 3 verses which I read, there was 2 verses which was not connected to the flute. So the last verse was connected to the flute. In the last verse, it was very nicely explained that how those things which move, it got stunned. And those things which don't move, they started trembling by listening to the flute. So that's the end of my presentation.
Yeah, that was the last question. It was like that. Yeah, in fact, that was the general idea, to have the whole, basically a synopsis, that what you did, which is synopsis of the effects of Krishna's flute on different devotees as observed by the gopis in this case. So yeah, so it was like all of them are covered more or less. You see, it's the clouds for their role, the peacocks for their role, the birds they were hearing with rapt attention, like the yogis, as Atul Krishna Prabhu said. Then there was trees, as you started off with, like those trees were like, they were immovable, but they started trembling. And for the cows and the calves, as Rasamai Mataji presented, that was the Nashingadita Prabhu presented. Rasamai Mataji presented the buck and the doe. So, and their reaction to hearing. So then that means the flute is not just for the gopis, but for everybody, but especially, yes, the 5th note That's for the gopis. That was a call to the gopis. But that doesn't mean that Krishna ignores others. So everybody is taken care of. But to speak of that, here we see just like in the demigods. So they are seeing from the demigods and the demigoddesses, they are like flying in the aeroplane. And a certain effect the flute is having, their garments are loosened, they're about to fall off from their from the aeroplanes. So they're totally captivated, basically. Again, you see even the Aboriginal girls, as we see in the left-hand corner, you can see, I'm sorry. What's happening? Sorry. So yeah, so the Aboriginal girls, so their reaction when they see Krishna and they take the lac and they smear it all over their face and the breasts. How Giriraj is also in a way he becomes joyful when Krishna plays his flute, because that's in the context. And how rivers like Yamuna or Manasiganga, they sometimes play contrary to their nature, that they become still. Rivers always flow, but they become stationary. They try to come and grab the feet of Krishna. And they even in apparently, as Harila Prabhu said, Shantaras, apparently Shantaras entities, you see the Madhurya coming out. So that's that's everything is happening because of this Vara, when Krishna is looking so beautiful. So that might be one of my personal application. It was in a way, if not this verse I didn't, but now I feel that yes, this verse is a personal application. It's going to be a personal application for me. Meditate on Krishna, like worshipping Krishna in meditation. This is one of the finest verses from Bhagavatam. So, and now that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is declaring is in this verse number 20, when the chapter is closing, that no one can worship the Supreme Lord by any method that is better than the method of the gopis, as we understand the famous verse from Srinath Chakravarti, Aradhya Bhagavan Rajesha Tanaya Tadhama Vrindavanam Ramya Kache Upasana Vrajavadu Vargena Yakalpita Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanam Amalam the Prema Pumarto Maha, that's the topmost. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Matamidam Tatra Aiva Napara. We don't hold any other opinion over and above this. This one verse brings the gist of the whole Gaudiya Vaisnava philosophy, and which is basically what is indicated in this purport by the disciples of Srila Prabhupada. So I thought it worthwhile to bring in. This is, as you can see, this is basically not just the mood of Prabhupada, but the mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the whole Gaudiya Vaisnava Parampara. So let's move on to the next verses. If you see what pious activities have this flute performed that enable him to freely drink the nectar of Krishna's lips, as that was in short was presented by Nrsinga Nitai Prabhu, and that was the topic of these 3 verses, verse number 6 to 9. So again, so as we see, as gopis are glorifying the flute and the merits of the flute, so they are not exactly envious the way the world works. So that is more like a personal application, as I see it should be applied in my life. Not to be envious of the achievements or other devotees. So what the flute has achieved, the gopis crave for that. So, but they are not envious of the flute. So I believe that was a cue. And also when they are speaking about this, their innermost heart feelings, it's amongst very close, as we understand this group of the gopis, that's very close to each other. It's not for anybody and everybody. So I was reminded of Narottam Das Thakur's verse from Prem Bhakti Chandrika, Apon bhajan katha na koi be jatha tatha ite habe sada shabdan. So that your innermost bhajan, your innermost raptures should not be discussed here and there publicly. So just for a cheap adoration, the result will be that you will get none and lose both. So possibly, so as this is what I personally feel that is for me, practice and pray and cry for that mercy. I once even saw a wonderful caption written in front of a guitar learning classes. They had this. The answer is practice. Now tell me your question. So that was the thing. So like for the sadhakas, the answer is practice. Now tell me your question. And then wait for Krishna's mercy to be on our heads. So let's move on. So yeah, this is a little distracting, but maybe it should come later on. You see verse number 11 and 12, there the gopis are glorifying the female deer and the doe, and how the male deer is accompanied by the female deer. That was as if he is bringing the female deer also along with him to be in the service of Krishna. And the gopis are thinking, on the other hand, our husbands, they are envious of Krishna. We don't see them like serving Krishna. We don't see them surrendering us also to Krishna as they might be surrendering. Even the demigods, they have come with the demigoddesses and that they can surrender to Krishna. But we are possibly not that fortunate. So that's one of those things which we see as part of the preaching. It's a little, maybe a little controversial also. But yeah, like we sometimes find the spouses, I would rather add sometimes in whatever I've written, we sometimes find spouses who do not want their partners to come closer to Krishna for the fear of losing them. So this is, I have seen many a time they have these fights, because ultimately it boils down to this, that because of this Krishna and Krishna consciousness, we are like, like there's a barrier that's coming between us. Certainly that is might be the misunderstanding and misapplication of Krishna consciousness, but that is one of the preaching aspects the preachers also need to take care of. So that this doesn't happen. It's like we want that the whole family should be Krishna conscious. So we are here to bring the whole families to Krishna conscious, not break families. Another aspect which I felt about this, the gopis were not cavemen. The gopis knew, as we see, that the gopis knew about the different kinds of airplane flying in the sky. Prabhupada is saying in the Krishna book. So gopis may be village girls, but they are fully conversant with the Shastra, fully conversant with the Vedic conclusions, fully aware of what's going on. So that's another thing. So then, like, they may be simple, but they are not stupid. So that's another aspect for the preachers of also ISKCON, to be naive in the name of simplicity while we are on the frontline preaching field is not an excuse. So as preachers, we have to have all the necessary equipments and must be armed with all the necessary technology, whatever is there required in the service of Krishna. And that's a lame excuse. It's an alternative to being simple. So in that sense, you see. So you see the same thing. Generally, this is what we think about village woman. That's what the village woman does. The gopis, that's what they do. You don't expect these village women to know about spacecrafts, but the gopis, they do, as we see. Okay, so again, this is another aspect, very juicy aspect inside. Actually, it's giving an insight to the Srila Prabhupada's mission. I'm sorry, it's this one. Let me discuss this one a little more. I would like to discuss this a little more. this preaching, just like many times it might happen that we go by the exteriors and we see people like those who are from the rural background or from a particular race or particular class of the society. So, and we might think these people are not worthy of our preaching, or these people are not to be taken care of. Let's go for the gold in that sense of the term. So the looks can be very, very deceptive, as we see from the case of the Gopis. So then the idea, the preacher might have some sort of discrimination in terms of he might have limited amount of time and effort, but the preacher should not bear a prejudice towards people in general, and who should be preached and whom he should not be giving the message to. So those are some of the nuances I found when I was thinking about the Gopis in that sense. So because the looks can be very deceptive. Now let's see this person. Okay, somebody like I need somebody. Maybe Rasamai Mataji, would you like to read this for us? Go on.
Persons who are constantly engaged in the transcendental meditation of seeing Krishna internally and externally, by thinking of him playing the flute, entering the Vrindavan forest, and tending the cows with the cowherd boys, have really attained the perfection of samadhi. Samadhi trance means absorption of all the activities of the senses in a particular object. And the Gopis indicate that the pastimes of Krishna are the perfection of all meditation and samadhi. It is confirmed in the Bhagavad-gita that anyone who is always absorbed in the thought of Krishna is the topmost of all yogis. Krishna book, chapter 21.
Yeah, it's basically from the same verse 14 and the corresponding Krishna book paragraph. I found the more mood and some real understanding, because that's what is the aim of Krishna consciousness. What is the basic aim? What is the underlying principle of the whole Krishna consciousness, what we are practicing? Isn't it this? Smartavya satatam Vishnu vismaram na jatachat sarva vidhi nishedasya etayorapi kinkara. Is it not? So if that is what is the aim of Krishna consciousness, always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. How do we reach there? So this is the following in the wake of the Gopis. So that's how we can attain the perfection of samadhi. Even the Bhagavad-gita speaks about this same thing. So that basic absorption of the Gopis, and while they're thinking that Krishna is tending the cows in Govardhan. And let's go to another extreme example which is presented in this. The Pulinda girls, they are smearing the red lac from Krishna's feet. You see the red lac they are picking up from the ground. So then, yeah, that's what's going on there. So then Prabhupada is saying that all, all material lust desires can be immediately satisfied if one comes in contact with Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada is saying in Krishna book. So this is this is also being echoed in the Rasa Panchadhyay, last verse of the Rasa Panchadhyay, where Shukdev Goswami is giving that blessing that Vikritam Vrajavadhu Vadubhir Idam Cha Vishnu Shraddhanvito Anusuyat Atha Varaned Ya Bhaktim Papam Bhaktim Param Bhagavati Pratilabhya Kamam Ridrogamasu Apahinoti Achirena Dhira. So what's happening? So then this is the same thing that's happening. So like even if somebody has got that lusty desire within himself, but he is attached and attracted towards Krishna, so gradually that's gonna that Krishna consciousness is going to get the better of him. So that's there to encourage us. So that's the encouragement of all fallen sadhakas, especially if I talk about myself, that's a big encouragement. It's like so anyway, so going forward with this. So now let's see how the Govardhan hill is basically Giriraj's is in the picture. When we let Narsinghanitay Prabhu, can you do the reading for us?
Oh my friends, this hill supplies Krishna and Balaram along with their cows and cowherd friends with all kinds of necessities, water for drinking, very soft grass, caves, fruits, flowers, and vegetables. In this way, the hill offers respects to the Lord, being touched by the lotus feet of Krishna and Balaram. Govardhan hill appears very jubilant. Prabhu got stuck. I think some internet problem.
Noted down the time actually so that you can adjust the time later on Harlila Prabhu.
The time is still fixed.
But of course, I understand. But if you want, you can allow that because it's all, it's not in his hand sometimes, the internet. It's all among us basically. That's the thing. You can decide. We should ensure, but this is out of his hands actually.
I think there must have been some guidelines to Hari Leela Prabhu regarding this from Mayapur Institute, what has to be done in such cases.
I didn't ask, they did tell. But in general, I'm just saying in a class, if your internet goes off, you have a fixed time to finish the class. You can't say that my internet is gone, so I'm going to extend the class today. Generally, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah, we do that. I mean, whenever we are giving class, if it has to end, it ends on time, and we cover it up. 10 minutes, 5 minutes here and there, we cover it up.
Anyway, let's see what he does. If he asks for extra time, I'll give him.
Yes, you're very merciful anyways.
Narsinghanitay, you can send some message, Prabhu, Narsinghanitay Prabhu, to him.
Now I'm trying to call him.
Who's the next today? We have, he has come back, I think, Bimla Prasad.
Hare Krishna. Shreyansi Vahu Vignani. Thank you.
The host.
Yeah.
And consider 15 minutes from now.
Yes, Prabhuji. So anyway, so let's get back. So as I think Rasamai Mataji was reading, but this is basically the translation of the famous Haridasa Varya, Hantaram, Adri Bala Haridasa Varyo, Drama Krishna Charana Sparsha Pramoda, Manam Tanoti Sahago Ganayosh Taroyat. Oh yeah, Pani Suyavasa Kandara Kandamule. Thank you for the help, Rosie. So yeah, so that idea, but like, how does this fit into this whole concept? Well, I figured out this is what Govardhan Giriraj is serving. This is the service what he is rendering to Krishna. And why do we make temples? It's one of our one of our mission parameters from our ISKCON, to erect for the members and society at large a holy place of transcendental pastime dedicated to the personality of Godhead. That's why we build temples, to provide all possible necessities for Krishna's service, and in pursuance of Krishna's service to other people also. Krishna is the first original Bhoktaram Yagya Tapasam. So therefore, that's why we do this. So, and that's why, because Govardhan is supplying, Govardhan is serving to the best of his capacity. That's why he has been he has been chosen as the Haridasa Varya, just as Atma Krishna Prabhu was mentioning yesterday, that other Haridasas, but he was the Haridasa Varya, because he could serve Krishna the best. Even the cows and calves in Vrindavan knew how to cry for Krishna. Prabhupada is writing this. So, like, and embrace them in his heart, in heart to heart. Actually, the perfection of Krishna consciousness can be culminated in the shedding of tears from the eyes. Prabhupada is writing here in chapter number 21. And that reminds me of His Holiness Gauragovind Swami Maharaj used to say that I have opened a crying school. So that's the more of for my personal application to cultivate that thing, as we read from Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu also. So unless and until a sadhak can genuinely cry for Krishna, so there is no hope for mercy for the sadhaka. So that is what it is, like the prasad lesa nu grihita evahi. So janati tattvam bhagavan mahimno. That's the idea basically. If that lesha nu grihita evahi, even if a drop of that mercy is gotten, then my life is successful. With that, I would end the presentation and open for questions, comments, rejoinders. Does have questions, comments, contradictions? Rasamai Machi, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Prabhu, I did not understand why you said that the gopis are not cavemen, and then you connected with the airplanes. And what was the purpose in doing that, Prabhu?
Yeah, the purpose was maybe I was not forceful enough in that, possibly. The idea was like their general understanding of the gopis being simple women is generally misunderstood as they are stupid. They were not. So they were very well versed in the Shastras, as apparently from the surface might not be detectable, but that they can see that there are these demigods who are floating in the sky in their spaceships. So and that shows that they were not, like, in that sense, really ignorant about the world. So they were very worldly wise also, and at the same time they were madly in love with Krishna. So that understanding for the preachers is very much required, because generally the general perception or misperception, if I may say, is that simplicity means that you are as much aloof from the realities of life, realities of time, place, and circumstance, and that automatically qualifies us to become a better devotee or possibly a better preacher. Contrary to that, ISKCON's history proves otherwise. I hope I was forceful now.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji. Yes, Atul Krishna Prabhu.
Prabhu, I was just thinking while hearing this whole thing, with Venu Gita, we are speaking. I'm sorry, my voice is clear, Prabhu?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Okay. Venu Gita, like there was a different effect on different devotees. We were hearing about the clouds, etc. Suppose if we have to just give a gist, what is the main message of Venu Gita? Now, it had different effects and all, but if we have to do that, what will be your message? Venu Gita is this.
Venu Gita is, as I in the outset I said, it's a clarion call by Krishna to all the jivas to come running back to him. That's what I would say for us. I mean, I won't go on, I won't cast that image on the Nitya Siddhas, but for the Nitya Baddhas, this is what I understand Venu Gita is to be. So, like, let's the call as the flute comes calling of Krishna. So all the jivas should come up to that they can receive the call of Krishna and they can respond to the call of Krishna. That's what I understand.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. Other thoughts, questions? Yeah, this is Arila Prabhu. Please, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, can you please clarify when you said that's not for the Nitya Siddhas, it's only for Nitya Baddhas?
I said no, my understanding is not for the Nitya Siddhas. It may be for the Nitya Baddhas. I am not going to transport my conditioned understanding on the Nitya Siddhas and just like for those kind of things. Because as I said, it's for all the jivas to come running towards Krishna. Those Nitya Siddhas, they're already with Krishna. So they don't need my advice, because he asked for that what is your understanding of this Venu Gita? I am a very small man.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you. Other question, thoughts? And I don't know how many minutes do I have now. Simply lost track. I lost you, Prabhuji.
You still have 7 minutes.
7 minutes to go. Okay. So if devotees don't have questions, then maybe I can throw in some more masala if you wish. There is a lot of juice in this in these pastimes of Venu Gita. Now, so far the commentaries of the previous acharyas are concerned. So it is of course there in our Bhagavatam only. It's not like from outside. So it is talking about one pastime because it's talking about the peacocks. So we missed out in any case the peacocks. That was the story of the peacocks. So it says that the peacocks, they when they like kind of danced, and then they made their friendship with Krishna, and ultimately, like that's how Krishna got a present from the peacocks, and like that, as we see that he has got a peacock feather. So the story of peacocks is like that's there. It's, of course, it's basically Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur giving that story, but yeah, it is basically there. So because they are requesting Krishna, oh Krishna, make us dance. Then Krishna is playing the flute, and then the peacocks are dancing. They're surrounding him, dancing. It's just like a rasa dance for the peacocks. Just that they are circling Krishna, and Krishna is in the center. That's as so that dance is going on. They are satisfied, and then so that's how you get a peacock feather atop Krishna. I mean, this is like everything is there in the Nitya Leela, but in this world, everything manifests through some Leelas. Then this is how the Varha thing is coming. So that's there. So yes, there's another aspect. If we can go back a little, and we see as we know in Shvetashvatara Upanishad, it says Parasha Shakti Vividaiva Shuyate. So that means he has got unlimited powers and unlimited things can be done by that. So here we can see how that Parasha Shakti is in play, just as Atul Krishna Prabhu was asking a little while ago, that how is it like having an effect on all these people? Because there are different Shaktis, different energies at work, and then that's why the different energies, they are responding to the different desires of different kind of devotees. So some are like, so this is how it's basically working. So if again the same thing, it's not just that the Gopis heard it in a different way and the cows heard it in a different way, but even amongst the Gopis, the different Gopis, individuals, they heard the flute sound according to their realization, their relationship with Krishna. So it is actually highly individual. It's highly individual and highly personal in its approach. These things, as we see at the start, when the gopis, they are not able to speak, the stambha thing, which happens as part of the bhava. So it's only after a point of time when they regained their composure and they started speaking amongst themselves. So that is that what we call a kind of rapturous experience. That can only be experienced. It's very difficult to explain those things in words. So because Krishna is so beautiful, it's like, in a sense, if I may say, that's like that kind of beauty. So it's so beautiful that a mortal being cannot tolerate that kind of beauty. And just like, if I can understand that same thing, if, say, for example, I mean, I know like devotees, many of the devotees in their innocence, or they want that let us have Ugra Nrsimha at our home. They have no idea what Ugra Nrsimha is. Ugra Nrsimha happens to actually come in front of eye, we will possibly die of shock. There's no darshan. It's just simply die out of shock, unless and until that kind of devotee is there. So it is the same thing. The beauty, so much beauty, possibly we will die out of happiness. That kind of beauty we are not habituated to. That is called Krishna. So that kind of beauty. So such kind of beauty which has had such a stunning effect on the gopis that they even made the gopis silent. When the gopis go silent, who we are. So yeah, so that is a point of understanding. So like to basically appreciate a mood of the gopis. So this basically okay. Let's have another thing. This conversation also, as we see, so it's like, because it's happening, it's a private conversation. It's just like we are privy to it now, but they describe him, Krishna, in that way. It's just like very, very private. And that's why sometimes we also see some words which are like used, which has got the acharyas basically, they have picked on those words, and just like this is one word in the verse, I have to look at the verse, where he's saying the word is kujaka. So the kujaka means, like, actually the acharyas, they say it is actually the playing of the flute on the fifth note. But the word generally kujaka is actually used for the birds. It's like we see in this our Shat Goswami Ashtakam, kujaka kokila hansisa rasagana, the same kujaka word. So what Krishna is doing, so he is playing the flute so that it also matches with the same scale, musical scale of the birds, and at the same time it is like going, the special message fits for the gopis. So these are like, he can do so many wonders with his Krishna doing with his flute. So yes, just already, of course, yes. I mean, it's like the gopis, they say that it's just a piece of bamboo, and he's so fortunate. Yes, Prabhuji.
Time is up, Prabhu.
Okay, thank you very much. I won't bore you more with this. Kindly give me your feedback. I badly need it. Let me just wait. Let me open my notepad.
Prabhu has feedback. Can I request Atul Krishna Prabhu to give feedback, because I think he has still not given feedback. So start.
Yes, Atul Krishna Prabhu.
Thank you. Thank you, Prabhu, for a wonderful class. I was actually thinking, I knew that I will be asked to give the feedback since I have not given the feedback. But actually, so I started writing point, but I didn't want to. I just wanted to hear maybe, you know, the system should be changed. We should hear the recording later and then we should give the feedback. You know, the whole concentration is on finding the faults and, you know, what to do. So I'm sorry, Bimla Prasad, but such a wonderful presentation it was. We were thinking about Gopis and you took us there. And initial also, your beginning was quite good. Slides, of course, were very good. I need to learn from you. Very good slides with, you know, clarity, could read. And even when I had reduced the size of the screen, I could read it very clearly. And when you were presenting it, your face expressions and gestures were quite good. I mean, it seemed that you were convinced of what you were speaking, not just you were presenting it. So this was really good. And there is some kind of room for improvement, if you allow me to.
Please, Prabhuji, I'm looking forward to it.
Initially, what I found later, after the internet issue, it was covered up, but in the beginning, your eye contact was not proper. You were sometimes looking at different sides, sometimes below, and not maybe because, you know, we all are not used to this internet. Sometimes it happens, but yes, that was there. And this I'm saying because it is mandatory. We have been telling in every, you know, Radhika Nagapus, look here, look here. So that's one thing which I thought was we could change. And second, about the verses. So those verses which were to be memorized or spoken. So it was seen that you were reading from somewhere like Varaha Pidam or also Vikriditam Brajavadhum. So all those verses, because then you could not pronounce when you were looking there and then reading and again saying that. That looks actually, rather than that, you could have put them on the slides. So then, you know, you could easily read. That was one thing which was looking very odd. And should I go on? Prabhu, I'm very good in fault finding. So
Yes,
I'm so
yes,
sorry.
please go on.
So about the group exercise also, I found it could have been done in a different way. There was nothing much to discuss for us when we went into the group. So then we divided, okay, 3 you take, 3 you take, and then we didn't know how to present. So maybe the group exercise could have been done in a different way. The exercise was very nice, but it could have been done in a way where coming in the group, we had something to discuss. Okay, so you come out with this, or, you know, or you could have divided the verses, 3, 3, 4, 4 verses and given to 2 groups. And then they could come up with what are their realizations out of it, not just the effect. Because effect, when you say, we just read it out and say, okay, this is the effect on that, this is the effect on that. So something to discuss. I feel the group exercise which was given, exercise was good, but not done in a proper way. So then it did not bring out the actual result which it could have. And when you talk about personal application, I think 3 times you mentioned in your presentation about personal application, that this is for my personal application. But you did not go on to explain it. You just mentioned, this is my personal, I would like to take this bhava and move, and then, you know, you went on. So I think it could have been explained that how this is your personal you know, what effect you had because of this verse, or, you know, personal application means, or how are you going to apply this to your life? And this was not there. You just mentioned it and then you just went on for the next one. So there, I think personal application was missing, to be frank, not explained properly. And verses from this section were not quoted, like we have Sanskrit synonyms, etc., to be done. So I feel, maybe I missed it or what, but I feel the verses from this section or with the Sanskrit synonyms were not quoted. Only in the one verse where you were explaining, 1 or 2 words you explained, but not explicitly. So that was one thing. And also, while explaining many things, you had your notes written down. So you were referring to the notes. Referring to the notes is not an issue. We all refer. But then you were reading a lot from those. Like, for example, when you were reading about Gopis are thinking that our husbands are not taking us like the doe and deer is doing. So, you're practically reading it from the down. And see, I feel notes is fine, 1 or 2 points, but to read the entire thing, it just disturbs the whole presentation. Like when I was looking at you and when I was like engrossed and suddenly I saw you just reading it down, it just, changed the whole thing. So that also could have been avoided. And of course, internet, that's not in your hand. So nothing, but still, sometimes we take care that nothing like that happen and still happen, then what can be done? That's not our right. Also, I feel you could have gone through the slides once or twice, which slide is coming up next, and then you had the flow maintained. Like you were planning to say something else, suddenly the slide came up and then okay, let's talk on this. Am I right, Prabhu, or I'm just making it up? Right.
Spot on.
Yes. So this kind of thing could have been avoided. So you could have at least gone through the slides once or twice, which is coming. So you knew next slide will be this. That could have actually given a very good flow to the presentation. Like, when one of the slides you went to the Prabhupada, the purport, and you said, yes, this is very important. And now we are going to discuss a very good preaching point. And then you said, no, sorry. Went back to the previous slide that, no, it's on this actually. So, the whole flow was broken. Try to understand, like we are just hearing, okay, Gopis are doing this and suddenly the whole thing was. So that practice or seeing the slide could have been done. But otherwise, in the last, with the question answers, very good question answers, you answered very well. All the questions. And also you covered up the time well. Nobody had the question. You gave the time for questions, but nobody had the questions. So the covering up also, it's required, which you tried doing it in the last. And otherwise, your time management, everything was very nice. Your presentation, with such a smile and with such nice gestures, they are very, very helpful for people to get into that mood, and also to bring out the teachings, like, giving from Prabhupada's purports, that this is what we can learn. It was really inspiring for me. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much, Krishna Prabhu, for a very comprehensive feedback. So that makes my life very easy. I can give a simple feedback and escape. Thank you very much, Bimla Prasad Prabhu. You are naturally a very sweet person, and naturally your smile is very sweet. And then the subject matter is also quite sweet. So it is like a sweet over sweet over sweet when you explain such subject matters. So
Diabetic.
It is really very nice that you took the subject matter and then you tried to get into the depth of the different aspects of Venu Gita. It was good katha to hear, and it was very inspiring. You went through the different aspects of Venu Gita. You took through the different themes of Venu Gita, bringing out mood and mission from those themes, important aspects of mood and mission, that experiencing Krishna through Krishna Katha, and then the different preaching application, Prabhupada's mood, all these things are brought up very nicely. You also spoke about a few of your own realizations about this whole aspect. There were contemporary issues which are brought up, like the relationship between husband and wife in Krishna consciousness, and misjudging people in preaching, trying to judge people to see if some of them are eligible for Krishna consciousness or not. All these different aspects were nicely woven into your presentation. Even though there was an internet outage, you gracefully handled it. You came back and then you went on. So you were not flustered with what had happened. So that was very good. There was no palpable frustration or flustered feeling or a sense of urgency. You did it very well. You handled the emergency quite well. So that's excellent. Many points which I had noted down as room for improvement, Atul Krishna Prabhu has already given. So I hope you have noted down those points. I don't want to get again into those points because more or less our points were exactly same. One point which I would just like to say, or 2 points which I would just like to say, is that when you speak, you tend to add many fillers while speaking. So please, if you can practice consciously about it, and then see if we can avoid fillers as much. Mainly the fillers come when we are not prepared to speak and we have to think on the go. So it's better that you pause a bit to think and then speak, try to speak without fillers. So that would be good. That's one point. The second point which I wanted to bring about is you also tend to sometimes repeat yourself when you're not prepared with the subject matter of what you want to speak. You tend to keep saying the same thing, or you tend to keep repeating the same words which you spoke previously. Probably that's an unconscious way of finding time to think, to say what next. But there's no harm in having strategic pauses, or there's no harm in slowing down your delivery of speech, which is exactly what I'm doing now, because I want to carefully choose my words. So I am not speaking in my regular speed. I'm speaking very slowly because it allows me to choose my words, which I want to tell you. So that is another strategy you could do, that you could slow down your delivery. That will give you some time to think, choose words properly, and then speak. So these are 2 things I wanted to add. Otherwise, it was a very nice presentation. It was an excellent presentation. You are a very good presenter. You're naturally a good presenter. You have a good endearing presence. Your presence is very endearing, irrespective of whatever little bit of here and there could be there. But when you give your that broad smile and your chubby face, it kind of makes up for everything. So in the end, it's very difficult not to like you. Even if we want that to find something wrong, it's very difficult to find something wrong with you. It's always very nice to hear you, especially such a nice subject which you spoke. Thank you very much for your very wonderful presentation. You're a natural presenter. Very well done. Thank you. Would you like to respond to the feedback?
First and foremost, I would like to thank both Atul Krishna Prabhu and you, Harila Prabhu. And Atul Krishna Prabhu, yes, more or less, he got me everywhere. So, yes, those are the areas, big improvement required. I'll try to work on them. These are like persisting for years, especially as you mentioned, the space fillers. Even as a teacher's training facilitator, and we teach others not to do it, I do it all the time. So it's difficult as it's possibly gone down to the DNA. But yes, try those things. Yes, certain things I missed. The Sanskrit words, synonyms. That was a really bad miss. Should be more careful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.